Hey friends, it's Laurie. Today I'm making a fall farmhouse pumpkin wreath using supplies from Dollar Tree, Michael's, Walmart, along with a few things that I had on hand. As always, I hope you enjoy crafting with me, so let's get busy. Getting started, I'm using an 18-inch grapevine wreath, and I picked this up at Michael's. My store had all their spring and summer flowers marked down to 80% off, so I picked up some of this bush grass. It was originally $9.99, but it cost me $2. The pink flowers won't work for this wreath, so I'm just removing them with my scissors. For this wreath, you can use an assortment of different greenery, so always feel free to change it up and make it your own. Now that I'm done, I'll hang on to these because I'm sure I'll be using them in a different project. Using my clippers, I'm now cutting the stems away from the main stem. I have 12 stems of greenery, and I'm starting by tucking it in between the grapevine wreath. Starting on the bottom, I'm then matching the same on the top. Don't worry if it's not perfect and it looks kind of messy, because that is exactly what we're going for. Once those are in place, I'm then using my other greenery to fill out the side. Now that I'm done, when I turn it over, some of the wires are kind of sticking out, so I just used my clippers and I cut them short against the wreath. To make sure they all stay in place, I'm adding some hot glue to each stem. I wanted to share with you today that I am participating in a fall wreathathon, and it's being hosted by my sweet friend Nadia from DIY with Nadia. Her channel is amazing and it's filled with beautiful wreath DIYs, so be sure to check her out along with my other crafty friends. I will have the playlist linked below in my description. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking on the little red subscribe button below, leaving me a thumbs up, and if you tap on the notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And to all my returning friends, you know I'm always so happy to see you. To define the ends on my wreath, I'm using 2 pumpkin picks that I found at Walmart, and they were 97 cents each. I removed the tags and slid in the bottom stem, then added the top directly above. Then, to make sure they don't move, I hot glued them in place. I'm attaching 3 pumpkins to my wreath, a green and a fall plaid, and just like the picks, they were 97 cents each. I'm also using a soft white pumpkin, and I picked this one up at the Dollar Tree. I'm attaching all 3 to one side, and I'm using hot glue to hold them in place. You can always add on different colored pumpkins to change up the theme of the wreath. I'm adding on another layer of greenery, and I'm using some pieces of ivy that I already had on hand. You don't need to use ivy, just some type of greenery to add on a second layer. To attach the first small piece, I added some hot glue in between my pumpkins. I then draped it over the green pumpkin and attached it underneath. I attached the end of a longer piece under the green pumpkin and hot glued it in place. I let the glue cool and then weaved it through the greenery. I then added on more hot glue to help hold it in place. I turned my wreath around and followed the same instructions for my next piece of ivy. And just like my last piece, I weaved this one through as well and hot glued it in place. To incorporate some of the colors from the plaid pumpkin, I'm using one of the fall foliage stems from the Dollar Tree. There are a couple of berries on there and I'm going to use those as well. Using my clippers, I separated them all from the main stem. They come with 2 berry clusters and I'm attaching one in the center of the 3 pumpkins. My second stem of berries is attached to 2 of the leaves and I'm attaching that on the outside next to the white pumpkin. I have 6 sets of 2 leaves. I'm attaching them on the bottom of the wreath and then pretty much copying them on the top. The Dollar Tree also sells 2-tone white leaf picks, and that would work great for this wreath too. I'm using a stem of lamb's ear that I already had on hand. It comes in 3 sections. I'm leaving 2 as is, and I'm pulling apart one into 3 sections. I'm attaching the larger ones onto the ends of my wreath and then hot gluing them into place. Once I have those in place, I'm then adding one of the 3 pieces of lamb's ear on the outside of my 3 pumpkins. I'm then adding a piece halfway down the lower end of my wreath and then one directly across on the top. I'm adding on 2 small green pumpkins. These came from the Dollar Tree and they originally were a 3-pack, but I used the other one in another project. To make the lines pop a bit, I'm using a brown colored pencil and I'm just following along each one. If you prefer the pumpkins as is, you can always skip this step. With that complete, I'm adding one on the outside of my 2-end white pumpkins. If you don't want to add in green, you could always add in a light orange pumpkin, and I think that would look great too. I'm adding 2 flowers to my wreath, and I'm using these pretty tan cosmos from the Dollar Tree. I'm only using 2, so I snipped them from the main stem, and I'm attaching one on the bottom and one on the top of my wreath. Once in place, I followed up with some hot glue. I'm adding one last layer to my wreath. I picked up this bunch of flowers. They were on the spring summer clearance at Michael's, and I think I paid $1.50 for them. I'm only using the small white flower stems, and I'm snipping them off with my clippers. With the flowers cut free, I'm now evenly spacing them around my wreath. I'm making my wreath in more of a farmhouse neutral theme, but you could change up the flowers and the pumpkins and add in some bright pops of color. Once again, I'm following up with my glue gun so that they don't move out of place. To finish up, once again, I'm using my brown colored pencil. I'm working my way around the wreath and following the lines in all the other pumpkins. But of course, I'm skipping the fall fabric one. I like how it gives the pumpkins a bit of dimension and they really pop on the wreath. Now that I'm done, my fall farmhouse pumpkin wreath is complete and it's ready to hang. Here we are at the end of the video, and I really hope you had fun making this wreath with me. Be sure to check out my other crafty friends on the playlist, and if you're new to my channel and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I hope you have an amazing day, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye everybody!